think about Dana White's words, and why don't you think we're getting this fight in 2020?
I think it boils down to there's just not enough time to get the full marketing value and dollars out of it. Potentially we could argue in 2021 that, there will be some progress made on the whole COVID situation, the gate, that could be a factor as well, or just what they're already thinking and the title fights that they already have to put on. I don't think they want to put Conor McGregor on a card where there are any other champions.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because they will have to pay the champions the pay-per-view dollars that Conor McGregor generates. And that's way more expensive than just putting Conor on a card of his own. So granted that I can't see exactly, I know that the UFC is looking ahead to what title fights do we need to make? Do we need to, get Stipe? What are we looking at? And they kind of already have that lined out for the rest of 2020. And to throw Conor on one of those cards as a co-main event, and then give the pay-per-view dollars 2 times out, essentially, I think they'd much rather just have Conor headline his own card, which they made a date for him. They made a date for him in January, and that way they're only paying those pay-per-view dollars to Conor and not having to divvy it out to other champions.
Misha, I think you're right. I think Live Gate has a lot to do with it, but I also think the quarterly earnings and expectations and numbers and shareholders and all that garbage could absolutely come into play as well.
Yeah, and then just the contracts that they probably already have to fulfill. Like you said, you don't put Conor McGregor on a fight night card. You put him on a pay-per-view event. There's only a few of those left in the year. There's probably contracts that they have to fulfill too. And again, you're probably right. There's more to this than just, Conor McGregor was retired. We just don't, we don't move mountains. But they do move mountains. They're making a whole new card for him and everything like that. So I think we're sifting through it down to the nitty-gritty, and that's probably what it boils down to be honest.
Your losses, of course, enter the UFC, a win over Michael Johnson, and then, of course, Dustin Poirier, Eddie Alvarez, setbacks in those fights. What did you learn from the losses Khabib hasn't had? Everybody talks about him being undefeated. Like you said, he's unbeatable, he's infallible, all these things. He doesn't believe he can lose. You know what can happen if you make a mistake, you let your guard down for a second. How has that made you better for this fight?
Yeah, I've thought a very specific way before. When I went in there, it was to create carnage, to create chaos. And, because I love that feeling so much. And I didn't think I would feel like that if I slowed it down or was more methodical. But now it's even sweeter. And, I'm enjoying it much more. After those two, it was really just a choice. It was really nothing more than a choice. I made a choice to fight differently, to be more methodical, and to not get hit. And, I've got hit so much less.
Now, when you talk about breaking guys in wrestling, a lot of times you see that moment when they just don't want to be there, when they can't physically keep up with you anymore. This fight versus Khabib, are you ready to go 5 rounds, 25 minutes, and kind of never see that look and work the entire time? When do you think we'll see that breaking point in Khabib if it happens?
You don't see it. The best thing is you have your hands on them so you can feel it. You can feel them quit. I don't believe that'll happen here. The way I'm going to beat him is by putting him to sleep, taking his body and taking consciousness away from his body. That's how I win this fight. Neither one of us are going to quit. Neither one of us are going to give up. Again, we've both been training our whole lives. We both will give our lives for this opportunity. And as shallow as that might sound, we live for something, and it's for this. And we've been preparing our whole life for this. So it's who we are. It's what we do. And it's going to be a great fight. And I'll be damn. I ain't going out like no punk. I can promise you that. I'm going to represent the United States of America. I'm going to represent my family, and I'm going to represent myself to the fullest when I step into the octagon.
Khabib versus Justin. A lot of people are saying this is going to be the biggest fight of the year. I'm so excited about this. I cannot wait for this fight. Khabib is unbelievable. Justin's unbelievable. They're clashing on Fight Island. I had heard rumblings that on the business side of things, this could be one of the biggest UFC fights ever.
Check you out, man. You are on top of your shit. This thing's trending off the charts for us right now. So today is Tuesday here. It's the end of Tuesday going into Wednesday. On Monday, this thing was trending to be the biggest fight we've ever had. Not Thursday, not Friday, Monday.
So when you say the biggest fight we've ever had, the number one fight of all time is Conor versus Khabib, right?
Khabib, yeah, it's trending bigger than that right now. You know, will the trend hold? Will it? One of the things that is a big negative for us is that it is not in prime time at home, and it is hard to message that to people. You know what I mean? This thing starts at the afternoon, so the main card starts at 2 o'clock on the East Coast.
So what time do you think Khabib and Justin are walking into the octagon?
Probably around 5 o'clock-ish, in that ballpark.
Khabib this morning was on ESPN, and they were asking him about if he beats Justin Gaethje, who does he want to fight next? And he said, the only fighter out there that interests me right now is George St. Pierre, GSP. Is there any chance that fight actually gets made after the Gaethje fight?
I did not know that until you just told me. And, you know, one of the crazy things about this business right now is, like, 8 months ago, if you asked me, hey, what are you guys doing in December? I could tell you exactly what we were going to do, where it was going to be, etc. Now, all I'm focused on is Saturday. And once Saturday's over, you know, and like I said, I have the big meeting tomorrow night. And then once Saturday is over, you know, then we'll go home on Sunday and start trying to figure out what's next. So I don't know if GSP is a possibility, you know, and I'll talk to Khabib after. Usually what happens is the fight will go on. I'll give them a couple weeks to, you know, and however the fight goes to relax and do their thing, and then we'll reach back out to them and see what's next.
I mean, just as a fan, can a guy like GSP, who hasn't fought in a couple of years now, come out of retirement and fight with Khabib, who seems to be at the height of his powers right now?
The question is, a guy like GSP who's been out as long as he has and at his age, can he make that weight?
What do you think?
And realistically, if GSP makes that weight and does it, and if he beat Khabib, I mean, he'd be the only guy to ever win 3 titles.
Yeah. So that's something that you are, is it fair to say that you're interested in putting, at least interested in seeing if everybody can make that work?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested in talking about it. Just because that's what Khabib wants doesn't mean that fight can be made. I mean, there's just so many things that have to come into play for that fight to happen.
I'm here with Frankie Edgar, of course, UFC Bantamweight. Bantamweight division, I think right now, number 2 behind 155 in terms of depth, talent, name value. Dominic Cruz, you could quite easily put on the Mount Rushmore of MMA. He's 10th in the division right now. Yeah, he's, you know, obviously lost his last fight, but we're talking about a legend. He's number 10. Like, your top 7 is just absolutely outstanding. Does that exciting for a guy like you? Is that like, man, it's gonna be a hopscotch to get a title and you get trying to plan things out? What's it like being in division that deep, man?
Yeah, I think it's exciting, especially being this late in my career, you know, looking at, you know, 5, 6, 7 guys in front of me or side me, and knowing that they're going to be, you know, great fights for myself and for my career. And, you know, a win over any one of them could, you know, get me a title shot too. So, yeah, this is, you know, I always want to be in the danger zone, I guess, you know, in whatever division I am. And I'm right in the thick of it right now. So 35 is the hot division. It's kind of like, you know, I feel like when I left 45 got a lot better. And now I'm going down. Now 35 is getting better. So I seem to be chasing the competition. And
is that you or is that bad luck?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe
wherever I go, it's great, or is it like, God, everywhere I go, it suddenly becomes a hot division, man?
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's a good thing. You know, more eyes on me, the better. And, you know, 35 has a lot of buzz right now, so it's definitely fun to be in.
What names are jumping out to you? Has the UFC been in touch with you about your next fight and throwing at me names? If not, who's on your radar, man?
Yeah, not yet. I mean, that guy Sandhagen looked great against Marlon. I know he's, you know, knocking the door. He mentioned my name, so I could see us getting down. You know, maybe next fight possibly, but we're gonna figure that all out. But yeah, I'm game for any of those guys up there. You know, I know Aljo and Jan are gonna finally fight for that title, so you know, we'll see what shakes out from all that.